We're going to talk about how to use ChatGPT to create a screening questionnaire that you can use. This is particularly helpful for new recruiters who are just getting started or recruiters who are getting into roles they may not have personal experience in, so they may be a little bit out of their depth and might not off the top of their head know how to ask these specific, more in-depth questions to pry out some of the great accomplishments and experiences candidates have that then can be used in candidate presentations that you send over to hiring managers.
Initiating becoming a hiring machine sequence in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, it's Sam Keenly, and welcome to Becoming a Hiring Machine. This is the show dedicated to fixing recruitment by going beyond saying what needs to change and instead teaches you how to make the change. Today, we have an incredible Tactical Tuesday ahead of us, but before we get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about the show. Essentially, we have shows within the show. Sometimes we have interviews with industry thought leaders and others who are shaking up the space, and they're going to teach you how to do something that they do that's helped them be successful. Some days we're going to cover trending topics, items that recruiters are talking about or will be very soon, and what those mean for them. Every Tuesday, like today, we drop a Tactical Tuesday episode where we go deep on how to do something that's going to help you drive better results in your day-to-day. Every now and then, we'll open it up for Q&A. Listeners can drop in questions to us that they'd like us to hear us take on. Send those over to us at podcast@loxo.co. And occasionally, you're going to hear a mic drop episode from Matt, where he shares something that's been bouncing around in his head about the recruitment space and things you need to know about. For today's Tactical Tuesday, Vivien joins me again as our resident expert living at the intersection of recruitment and ChatGPT. Today, she's going to take us through creating a candidate screening questionnaire that's actually helpful to use. So think no more common generic questions like tell me about yourself, but truly insightful questions that are going to help you determine if a candidate could be a good fit for the position. On that note, let's jump into it. Vivien, excited you're joining us again.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
Yes.
So, like you mentioned, we're going to talk about how to use ChatGPT to create a screening questionnaire that you can use. This is particularly helpful for new recruiters who are just getting started or recruiters who are getting into roles they may not have personal experience in, so they may be a little bit out of their depth and might not off the top of their head know how to ask these specific, more in-depth questions to pry out some of the great accomplishments and experiences candidates have that then can be used in candidate presentations that you send over to hiring managers. So we will get started, as always, with introducing ourselves to ChatGPT and essentially saying, hey, ChatGPT, I am a agency recruiter, and this time we're actually going to start slightly differently. We're going to actually say we're looking for the top 3 must-have skills and the top 3 nice-to-have skills for a particular role based on the job description. So we're starting with this so that ChatGPT can start by just identifying what are the top 3 must-have skills and the nice-to-have skills, because if we just right off the bat jump into asking ChatGPT create a screening questionnaire for the role based on this job description, it will generate questions like 20 plus questions for each specific thing mentioned in the job description. That's a little bit too much. That's not where it's really helpful to you. So by taking a little step back and kind of saying, ChatGPT, identify the top 3 must-have skills and the top 3 nice-to-have skills, this also gives you an idea of what ChatGPT thinks is relevant based on the job description.
And for those listening, what you did was you copy and pasted in the job description right into ChatGPT after you provided it with that prompt.
Exactly. So today we're actually using the creative manager job description for a position here at Loxo. And the top 3 must-have skills it identified as graphic design expertise, video production skills, cross-functional collaboration, and some of the nice-to-have skills would be SEO knowledge, familiarity with content distribution channels, and familiarity with relevant tools such as Google Analytics and things like that. So this gives you a first kind of glance of even the quality of the job description. What is it communicating to candidates? So if this all sounds right, then it's a well-written job description that you can actually use that will be helpful. If it's not, that is a topic we're going to cover in a different episode. But for now, we're going to move on to the next step. So now that we have identified the top 3 must-have skills and the top 3 nice-to-have skills, we can ask ChatGPT to generate a questionnaire for you. And this is where we're also providing it a little bit of context, meaning a screening call is typically about 15 to 30 minutes. It is a phone call. It addresses the must-have skills and then some of the nice-to-have skills. The goal of the questionnaire is to kind of help you, once you're completed with the call, to create a really good, compelling presentation for the candidate. Essentially, it's a little bit of a marketing tool that you're sending over to the hiring manager. And once we do that, ChatGPT will start generating some of these questions. So right off the bat, for the graphic design expertise, it suggested the question, can you provide examples of graphic design projects you have worked on in the past? And this is where the candidate can kind of start talking. And if the candidate is only scratching the surface, you can further say, hey, could you describe your role in these projects and the impact that they had? That way you're getting some problems that they had and how they solved them and the positive impact that it had, which is what ultimately appeals to hiring managers, because they're hiring someone to solve a problem and make a positive impact. So all of these questions about video production skills, cross-functional collaboration, as well as some of the nice to have skills about SEO knowledge, familiarity with content distribution channels, and other relevant tools such as Google Analytics, WordPress, and YouTube. All of these are in here. So we have quite a few questions. So this is a really good start to make sure that the candidate has all of the right skills. And then we're going to add a cherry on top with a third message where we're basically acknowledging this is a great place to start. But we want to break this down into 3 different sections so that it's a little bit easier to see once we actually have that questionnaire in front of us. And as a small cherry on top, I also added to ask some questions about why is the candidate motivated to make a change? What are the next career step that would be really appealing to this candidate, as well as what compensation package they're looking for. And now ChatGPT is generating a beautiful screening questionnaire that we can copy and paste into a word processing document to take notes, or if you're a little bit more old school, to print it out and put pen to paper.
I love it. And as someone who is hiring for this position right now, I know you and I were joking right before we started recording. I've gone through a handful of candidates already, and I definitely wish I had these questions in front of me, because like you say, it helps you get beyond those surface level and allows you to go to that second and third layer deeper in the conversation. And that's often where the candidates either shine or you start to uncover, there might be a little bit of cracks between the resume and then what the hiring manager is looking for. So it's a great way to really pull this out a little bit more and really fine tune your initial screening, just how you're able to go about it and who you're passing through.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. So, okay, these are all phenomenal. You took us through everything. Is there anything that we should be keeping in mind to avoid, be aware of as we start to do something like this?
You do want to make sure that you're kind of breaking this down in the steps that I initially outlined, so that way you're not just getting those like 20 random questions that might not actually end up being helpful as screening questions. Also, kind of review what it's even telling you. So early on, we kind of saw, okay, those are the top 3 skills that it identified as must-have skills. Review what it's actually saying to make sure that it's actually relevant and it makes sense. Because if not, you can still kind of course correct it. And once you've kind of verified that the top 3 must-have skills and nice-to-have skills are spot on, then you can kind of move forward. And lastly, if this is a confidential search that you're working on, please do not add the name of the company in there. As always, you don't know what ChatGPT is doing with all the information. So if it's confidential, you can kind of just describe the industry and what the company does, what division and department this would be in, and kind of keep it vague.
All right, everyone. Well, this was an incredible session as always. Vivien, thank you for taking the time to come and join us on the show. Couldn't appreciate you more for sharing this knowledge with us. Yeah. Oh, please come back anytime. We're always welcome to have you and lucky to have you. So I already know this knowledge is going to help so many recruiters level up, inspire them to start incorporating these types of things into their day-to-day moving forward. So everyone, that's another Tactical Tuesday episode. Until next time.